Hey guys, welcome to CPM 2. This is Module 2, Lesson 5. We've got linear equations and one variable and problem solving. This and problem solving, sorry guys, that means word problems. Okay, and we've kind of led our way up into this point in several different ways. One, we have been doing sort of word expressions. Last lesson we did equations that were written out, and you could even check them, right? The product of 7 and 6 is 42, and so you do 7 times 6 equals 42, and so you could check it. 7 times 6 is 42. Okay, that was a lot of rambling, sorry. So we've done word expressions, word equations. We've also been practicing how to solve equations. We're doing all of that together in a lesson full of word problems. So, it says here, now we have practiced solving equations in one variable, we can extend considerably our problem solving skills. We begin by writing sentences as equations, using the following words as phrases as a guide. So, we have some hint, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and even our equal sign keywords. So, example 1, write each sentence as an equation. Use X to represent, in quotes, a number. So, 20 decreased by a number is 5. Just kind of do it chunk by chunk, and that's what these little boxes here are kind of doing. 20 means the number 20. Increased by, that's your keyword for add. A number, we said we're letting X represent a number. Is means equal sign. And then 5. That's it for this one. So 20 plus X equals 5. Same thing on B. Twice the number equals negative 10. Negative 10. So what does twice the number look like? We could do 2 times X, but we're past that now. So that is 2X equals, self-explanatory, negative 10, again, self-explanatory. So my equation here is 2X equals negative 10. One more problem like this. 3 times the sum of a number and 5 is 30. So that keyword of means parentheses. So we've got 3 times, in parentheses, the sum of a number X and 5 is my equal sign, negative 30. So we've got in parentheses, 3 in parentheses, X plus 5 equals negative 30. All right, now we're going to take it one more step, not just write out these equations, but now we're going to write out the equation and find the unknown number. So after we write it like this, then solve your own equation. So A says twice the number plus 3 is the same as the number minus 6. Very overwhelming when you read it all together. That's again what these little chunks are for. Twice the number means 2X, right? Not 2 times X, but 2X plus 3 is the same as your equal sign, a number minus 6. Keep that in the same order, X minus 6. So solve your equation. So I'm going to run out of room. So you know what? Because that's going to be worse. Okay. I was going to turn it sideways, but then you're just going to have to look at it sideways. So instead, I'm just going to write it down here, and we'll kind of have to use room, over here. Okay. So this is from our last lesson. You have a variable on both sides you've got a number on both sides, just move something. Usually we like our variable over here. So to get our variable on the left, we need to move this x over that's on the right. So the opposite of a positive x is a negative x. So 2x minus x is 1x or just x. Drop down everything else. So now that I have my variable over here, I need my constant over here. So we need to move this 3 over here. So the opposite of a plus 3 is minus 3. So 3 minus 3 is 0. That cancels. And so I'm left with x equals negative 6 minus 3 is a negative 9. Okay, let's try one. Up until this point, we've had all these little boxes to kind of guide us through. On B, let's see if we can do this without being guided. If you want to, pause the video. And really, you can pause the video at any time and try one on your own. But pause the video, see if you can do B before you even work it out completely. Just see if you can write it down right. Hit play, make sure you can write it right, and then you can solve it. Okay, hopefully you've paused the video and already tried this. But B says the sum of a number and 2 equals 6 added to 3 times the number. Again, overwhelming when you read it all together. So piece by piece by piece. The sum means to add. We're going to add a number and 2. So I've got x plus 2 equals, there's my equal sign, sorry. 6 added to 3 times a number. So 6 added to 3 times a number. Again, you can do 3x or 3 times x, but that needs to be more of like a 3x. Now, technically, since 6 is being added to this right here, technically, this should be x plus 2 equals 3x plus 6, but addition, the order doesn't matter, and subtraction it does. Okay, so same thing as the last one. You've got a variable on each on a side. You've got a constant each on a side. Just move something. So I have been doing variable over here, number over here. Let's just get kooky with it and change it. So let's put our variable over here and our number over here, because it does not matter as long as they're on different sides. So that means I need to move this x over here. So the opposite of a positive x is negative x. What I do to one side, we're doing to the other, so we're subtracting x over here as well. So x minus x cancel. I'm just left with a 2. We can bring down our 6, and 3x minus x is a positive 2x. So now that I have my variable over here, I need my number, my constant, on the left. So I need to move this 6 over here. So opposite of a positive 6 is a negative 6. And what I do to one side, I'm doing to the other. So 2 minus 6 gives me negative 4. 6 minus 6 cancel, and then I'm left with my 2x. And then last step is to divide. So we'll divide both sides by 2. And we get negative 2 equals x. And then, of course, if you're me, you can write x equals negative 2. Okay. So that is all of our equations kind of wrote out. when we're when we are finding the unknown number. Now let's get into the actual word problem portion. Okay, that was still all amateur hour there. So now we're going to determine distances. So we have two examples of determining distance. First one's kind of worked out for us, kind of guiding us. And then this one we're going to do completely on our own. Now, I didn't really actually read this because it didn't apply to our types of problems. So I'm going to kind of go back over here and read this. We've got some problem solving steps, and these are more of just like helpful hints and guides really. But step one is that you have to understand the problem. And super important one here, that means read and reread the problem. If you have to reread that problem 5 times before you understand what it is saying and what it is asking, do it. Until you understand what the problem is saying and or what the problem is asking, you can't solve the problem. On a couple of these, I think we will anyways, we're going to construct a drawing if we can. And I lied to you. That's going to be in CPM 3. So there's a little glimpse to the future for you. But if you can construct a drawing, you need to. So once you understand this problem, then you are translating the problem to an equation, you are solving it, and then interpreting the results. When we interpret the results, a good rule of thumb, a word problem requires a word answer. So, over here, the distance by road from Chicago, Illinois to Los Angeles, California is 1,091 miles more than the distance from Chicago to Boston, Massachusetts. If the total of these two distances is 3,017 miles, find the distance from Chicago to Boston. Okay. So, we've got two different things. We've got the distance from Chicago to Los Angeles and from Chicago to Boston. We need to pick something to represent each of these. So, in this sentence here, where it says, Chicago to LA is 1,091 miles more than the distance from Chicago to Boston. Which one of those do I have no information about? Chicago to Los Angeles is 1,091 miles more than the distance from Chicago to Boston. I know that Chicago to LA is this much more than something, but I don't have any information on Chicago to Boston. So because I have no information, that is your starting point. That is your X. Every single time you do these, one of these is going to be just plain old Jane X. Okay, figure out where you're starting. This is my X because I know nothing about it. I know nothing about this distance. So then, if Chicago to Los Angeles is this many miles more than this distance here, how do we represent that? It's going to be whatever this distance is. So X plus 1,990, I keep saying that, 1,091 miles. So if this is 10, then this is 10 plus this. If this is 10,000, then this is 10,000 plus this. It doesn't say that this distance is this many miles, so it's not just 1,091. It's whatever this is plus that many more miles. Okay. So, In words, my distance from Chicago to Boston plus my distance from Chicago to Los Angeles is going to equal my total miles. Because it tells me here if the total, that means to add, so that's why we know that we're adding these two. So my distance from Chicago to Boston is right here. That's my x. Plus my distance from Chicago to LA is this right here. So you've got x plus 1,091, and my total miles is 3,017. So solve your equation. So I'm going to bring this down here so it's a little bit more togetherness. So we've got x plus 1,091 equals 3,017. So solve. You have nothing to distribute, but we can combine some like terms here. So x plus x is 2x. We already have x on one side, so that means I need my constant over here. So to move this number over, the opposite of adding is subtracting, so we're going to subtract. So I've got 2x equals 7 minus 1 is 6. I can't subtract here. And I can't really borrow from a 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that 30 as a 29. I'm going to use that 30 as a whole number. So I'm going to borrow this to make this 11. And I'm going to change this 30, take 1 away from the 30 to make this 29. Okay, come see me if this does not make sense. So now that I've borrowed, we've got 11 minus 9, which is 2. And now 29 minus 10 gives me 9. Sorry. So now divide. We're going to divide both sides by 2. Okay, I'm going to take that away just so I can read the problem here in a second. But divide both sides by 2. So I'm going to come over here. 2 divided by 1926. So 2 can't go into 1. But 2 can go into 19 9 times. 2 times 9 is 18. Subtract, we get 1. Bring down your 2. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. You get 0. Bring down your last number, so 6. 2 goes into 6 3 times. So my x here is 963. Now, in this problem, again, if you didn't get that division, come see me. But the question on this one here, it wants me to find the distance from Chicago to Boston. My distance from Chicago to Boston is simply just x. We have found x. So we are done, except for step 4 is to interpret. Word problems require word answers. So find the distance from these two cities. So we can write something like there are 963 miles. From Chicago to Boston. This is my final answer. Hey, I don't care that x equals 963. I care about what that x represents and you answering the question in the problem. So let's try another one like this. The distance by road from Cincinnati, Ohio to Denver, Colorado is 71 miles less than the distance from Denver to San Francisco, California. If the total of these two distances is 2,399 miles, find the distance from Denver to San Francisco. So, we've got two distances. We got Cincinnati to Denver. And we have Denver to San Francisco. So, in this sentence, Cincinnati, Ohio to Denver, Colorado is 71 miles less than the distance from Denver to San Francisco. Which one of those do we know nothing about? I don't know anything about this distance right here. I know this distance is this many miles less than, but I don't know anything about my distance from Denver to San Francisco. And more times than not, the last thing that they mention is what you know nothing about. So this is my x. So if my distance from Cincinnati to Denver is 71 miles less than this distance here, we have whatever that distance is, we're going to take 71 away from it. So, same concept. Distance plus distance equals your total miles. So, x minus 71 plus this distance here of x equals my total mile of 23.99. So solve. X plus x gives me 2x. So I've got 2x minus 71. I've got my variable over here, so that means I need my constant over here. So we're going to add 71. I've got 2x equals, that's 10, carry your 1, that's 17, carry your 1, 4, 2. Divide by 2. And we get x to be, 2 goes into 24, 12 times. 2 goes into 70, 35 times. So we solve for x. So go back to the question and answer it. This one is wanting us to find the distance from Denver to San Francisco. Here is my distance from Denver to San Francisco. It's just x. So we found x to be 1235. Word problems require word answers. So, the distance from Denver to San Francisco is 1,235. 1,235 what? Miles. So again, I don't care what x equals. I care about you answering the question. Okay, there's another type of problem we need to go over. And that's calculating separate costs. So, one that's going to walk us through it, one where we do it without the walk through. A says a salesperson at an electronics store sold a computer system and a software for $2,100, receiving 4 times as much money for the computer system as the software. Find the price of each. So on this one, we have 2 answers since I need to find the price of each of them, the computer system and the software. So, in this sentence, we received 4 times as much money for the computer system as the software. Which of those do we know nothing about? That's the software. So that's your starting point. That's your X. But what I do know is that we received 4 times as much money for this computer system. So how do I represent that this one is 4 times whatever my software is? That's 4 times X or just 4X. So because I know that we sold them both for $2,100, add them up, so that'll equal to $2,100. So my software price is X. My computer price is 4X. And we know that needs to equal $2,100. So solve. We've got X plus 4X equals 2,100. Combine like terms. X plus 4X is 5X. Divide by 5. And we get X equals all right, 5 goes into 21 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract, we get 1. Bring down your 0. 5 goes into 10 2 times. You're not done. 5 times 2 is 10. We do get 0, but you're not done until you bring down all of these numbers. So bring down this last 0. 5 goes into 0 0 times. So X here equals 420. Now, plug these in. Because we want to know the price of each, plug these into these right here. So that we got 4X, so that's 4 times whatever my X is. My X in this one is 420. So 4 times 20. Zero times 4 is 0. 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 4 is 16. And then my software is X, and my X equals 420. Word problems require word solutions. So, the software cost, X is 420, costs 420, and the computer system costs $1,068. That's my final answer. On B, a woman's $57,000 estate is divided so that her husband receives twice as much as her son. How much will each receive? So again, because I want to know how much will each receive, this is a 2-answer problem. Okay, so we have a husband, we have a son. Let's just abbreviate this. This is going to be hubby and son. So, in this sentence, her husband receives twice as much as her son. Which one do we know nothing about? Her son, again, usually the last one. So that is your starting point. That is your X. And the husband receives twice as much as this son. So that is 2X. And I know when I add up the husband and the son's, earnings, it's going to add up to this much here. So we have 2X plus X equals 57,000. So add up your like terms. 2X plus X is 3X. Divide by 3. We get X equals. So okay. 3 goes into 7 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. We get 2. Bring down your 7. 3 goes into 27 9 times. 9 times 3, 27. Even though you get 0 here, you're not done because we haven't brought down these 3 zeros. So bring it down, 0. 3 goes into 0, 0 times. 0 times anything is 0. Bring down your 0. 3 goes into 0, 0 times anything is 0. And then your last one, 3 goes into 0, 0 times. So this is 19,000. We are not done. How much will each of these people receive? So the son is easy. Son is X. The X is 19,000. Husband, on the other hand, needs to be twice. Needs to be 2 times this 19,000. Kind of running out of room here, but we'll do it. 19,000 times 2. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. So now I've got 2 times 9 is 18. So 8 comes down, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus the 1 is 3. So he's going to get 38,000. We are not done till we write this out. Her husband will receive $38,000, and her son will get 19,000. And by the way, with all of these are super easy to check. Like on this one, if you add up 38,000 plus 19,000, you're going to get your 57,000, what this needs to be. So this checks out. Same thing up here. If you add up 1680 plus 420, you're going to get 2,100, which was the amount that we had. So these are really easy to check to make sure you've done right. I don't remember what this problem over here was, but no, those are, but these are easy to check. Example 5, this has to do sort of with speed, but you set it up the exact same way as those money ones were. It says a falcon when diving can travel 5 times as fast as a pheasant's top speed. So right here, what do we know nothing about? A falcon when diving can travel 5 times as fast as a pheasant's speed. Okay, again, usually the last thing is what you know nothing about. So that pheasant, that is my X. What I do know is that this falcon is 5 times as fast as that pheasant. So whatever this number is, we're multiplying it by 5. It's 5 times as fast. And it says if the total speed, total again means add, if the total speed of these two birds is 222 miles per hour, find the fastest speed of both birds. So how many answers do we have here? I don't know why I can't highlight that, but you know what we're looking for. We need to find the fastest speed. That's annoying. Of both. Okay, so add them together. I know the pheasant speed, X, plus the falcon speed, 5X, needs to equal the total of 222. I'm going to scoot this over a little bit so I can use that. So combine like terms. X plus 5X gives me 6X. Divide by 6. That cancels and we get X equals, so 6 into 222. 6 goes into 222, or into 22 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. Subtract, we get 4. Bring down your 2. 6 goes into 42 7 times. So we get 37. So pheasant speed is easy. Pheasant is 37, but now we need to find this one. So we've got 5 times 37 to get this speed. So 37 times 5. 7 times 5 is 35, so 5 comes down, 3 gets carried. 3 times 5 is 15, plus the 3 is 18. So we get 185. So, answer the question. Find the fastest speed of both birds. The falcon can dive 100. Oh, I put that in the wrong spot. That was confusing me. Sorry, guys. This should have been... That shouldn't have been there. That goes right here. Sorry about that. So the falcon can dive 185. What unit are we in? It says miles per hour. So 185 miles per hour. And the pheasant can dive 37 miles per hour. Okay, and that's really and truly all of your examples. This is from your My Math Lab, and this is number 7 in your My Math Lab. I feel like this one always trips people up, not because it's hard, just because they don't understand what this thing is asking for. And so I wanted to do one with you guys. So it says, based on the census, state A has 12 fewer votes for president than state B. If the total number of votes for these two states is 84, find the number for each. So in this sentence, state A has 12 fewer votes for president than state B. Which of those do we know nothing about? This one here. We know nothing. So because we know nothing, they go on to say that they are going to let X represent state B. And I think a lot of times that's overlooked when you're working this problem. So then, I'm right here, then blank represents the number of votes for state A. Well, it says A has 12 fewer votes than B, which B is X. So if it has fewer, that's subtraction. So that means X minus 12. So a lot of times even this part is missed, but this right here is really missed. When you get to this part right here, it doesn't show all of this here. And so it makes you think that you have to solve it. It's wanting to like work this problem out with you. So votes for state B, that's your X. Votes for state A, that's your X minus 12. Once you put this in, then this will show up. And so they're solving the problem, just figure out where they are in their problem. They've got 84 plus 12, that's what they're wanting right here. So 84 plus 12, you get 6, you get 9, so this is 96. Then this part shows up. They're dividing by 2. So 2 into 96, 2 goes into 9, 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract, we get 1, bring down your 16. 2 goes into 16, 8 times, so 8 here. And if you kind of notice here, they're using like they're saying like the same steps that we were telling you to do. Understand the problem, translate it, solve it. So now we're into the interpret. So since X represents the number of votes for B, use the fact that A has 12 fewer to calculate the number of votes. So they're doing 48 minus 12. 8 minus 2 is 6. 3 minus 1 is 3. So we get 36. Hold on, please. So you get 36 here. Then it tells you once you put this in, then the rest of this will show down here. It's going to ask, did you check? Well, yes, it's good to check, but my math lab's going to tell you before then if it's right or wrong. So just say yes. If you want to be truthful, check it in, but just say yes. And then state the conclusion. It says state A has blank votes and state B has blank votes. So state A, we showed to be X minus 12. And we've already done the math for it. So state A is 36. State B, B is X. And we found X right here to be 48. So 48 here. Okay. So it's not a hard problem, but your My Math Lab is going to walk you through this. And they almost make it more complicated and harder than it needs to be. So I wanted to show you guys an example of what you're going to see on your My Math Lab. But that is it for this lesson. Let me know if you guys have any question. Pause.